Many years ago, in the land of Israel, there was a young boy named David. He was the youngest of 8 brothers, and his family lived in Bethlehem. David was not a soldier. He was a shepherd, which meant he spent his days watching over his father's sheep in the fields. He was brave and strong, even though he was young. When wild animals like lions or bears came to attack the sheep, David would fight them off with his bare hands and protect the flock. David also loved God deeply. He would sing songs to God and play his harp while tending the sheep. God saw David's heart and was pleased with him. At that time, Israel was at war with the Philistines, a strong and dangerous enemy. The 2 armies were camped on opposite hills, with a valley between them. The Philistines had a champion named Goliath. He was a giant, over 9 feet tall. He wore heavy armor and carried a huge spear. Every day, Goliath came out and shouted to the Israelites, mocking them and challenging them to send someone to fight him. He said, "Choose one man to come down and fight me. If he kills me, we will be your servants. But if I kill him, you will be our servants." Goliath did this for 40 days, and no one in Israel dared to face him. The soldiers were terrified. Even King Saul, who was the tallest and strongest man in Israel, was afraid. David's 3 oldest brothers were soldiers in the Israelite army. One day, David's father, Jesse, told him to take food to his brothers and check on them. David left his sheep with another shepherd and went to the battlefield. When he arrived, he heard Goliath shouting his usual challenge. David saw how afraid the Israelite soldiers were, and he was surprised. He asked, "Why is no one fighting this man? Who is this Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" Some of the soldiers told David that the king had promised a reward to anyone who could defeat Goliath. The reward included great riches, the king's daughter in marriage, and freedom for the man's family. David said, "I will fight him." His brothers were angry and said, "You're just a boy. Go back to your sheep." But David didn't back down. He believed that God would help him. Word reached King Saul that someone was willing to fight Goliath. Saul sent for David. When David stood before the king, Saul was shocked. David was young and had no armor or weapons. But David said, "Don't be afraid. I will fight this giant. When I was watching my father's sheep, I fought lions and bears. God helped me defeat them, and he will help me defeat this Philistine too." Saul tried to give David his own armor, but it was too heavy. David couldn't move properly in it. So he took it off and chose instead to fight with what he knew. He took his shepherd's staff, picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream, and put them in his pouch. He carried his sling in his hand and walked toward Goliath. Goliath saw David coming and laughed. "Am I a dog, that you come at me with sticks?" he shouted. He cursed David and said, "Come here, and I will give your flesh to the birds and wild animals." But David was not afraid. He replied, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel. Today, he will give you into my hands. Everyone here will know that the Lord saves, not with sword or spear, but by his power." Then David ran toward Goliath. He reached into his pouch, took out a stone, and put it in his sling. He swung the sling and let the stone fly. The stone hit Goliath right in the forehead. It sank deep into his head, and the giant fell face down to the ground. David ran to him, took Goliath's own sword, and cut off his head. The Philistines saw that their champion was dead, and they ran away in fear. The Israelites chased them and won the battle. After the victory, David became famous. King Saul brought him into his palace, and David eventually became a great warrior and leader. But more importantly, David's faith in God never wavered. He trusted God when no one else did, and God used him to bring victory to his people. This story teaches us many powerful lessons. First, it shows that courage does not come from size or strength, it comes from faith in God. David was just a boy, but he believed that God was bigger than any giant. Second, it reminds us that we don't need fancy weapons or armor to win battles. God can use what we already have, our skills, our hearts, and our trust in him. Third, it shows that when we stand up for what is right, even when others doubt us, God will honor our faith. So, dear viewers, if you have ever felt small or afraid in the face of a big challenge, remember David. Remember that with God, nothing is impossible. Giants may look scary, but they fall when we stand firm in faith. If this story has inspired you, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Share this with someone who needs courage today. Let's keep learning and growing together in God's Word. God bless you.